yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. They feel their disease. Just like a weed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to a very special edition Tuesday stream. Yeah, it is TGI Tuesday, and you damn right that is a real thing. Rockin', rollin', getting down to the nitty and the gritty, getting down and dirty here on Tuesday as we are streaming live on 4 different platforms and across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different accounts. And we are getting set once again to talk about the brand that no one cares about, that being NXT. But it's going to be fun because you talking about it with DJ Shizzle Dizzle. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the official rewind for NXT Great American Bash 2023, which of course streamed live on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Peacock from Austin, Texas, 2 days ago, Sunday, July 30th, with the pre-show starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, that is. And we are not going to waste too much time. I just got a few self-brand promotion and advertisements to get into, and a major announcement that if some of you haven't already heard of, I have officially partnered up with Pro Wrestling Powerhouse Nation, a brand created by Mr. Jay Aletto 11 years ago. And Jay Aletto has personally recruited me to be a brand that is showcased heavily on PWP Nation's Facebook page. I would publicly and personally like to thank Mr. Aletto for reaching out to me and offering me such a gracious opportunity, and I have accepted that position, and things will be heating up this summer. Things are going to be looking up for the DJ Storms brand, and this expansion is going to take the brand to new heights. So thank you once again, Mr. Aletto. More details will come, but you will see a lot of me over on the PWP Nation Facebook page. Also, if you haven't already done so, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. Once again, that is at HistoryMakerDJS on both Twitter and Instagram. You can also add me on Facebook as well. We are streaming live from my personal Facebook to get a larger outreach. We are also streaming live on the DJ Storms Posse Facebook group, which you can gain access to if you like the official DJ Storms business page. I may very well start streaming live on the DJ Storms business page as well, just for an even bigger outreach. So we're going to get a lot of outreaches, that's for sure. But please make sure you like the business page if you want to receive an invite to the Facebook Posse group. It's only for the elite members of the DJ Storms Posse. I'm the leader, as of course. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, for collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. All those links are in the description, as well as the links to my friend Brittany's social media links. My friend Brittany K, she's a wonderful human being, big supporter of the channel, and a great friend of mine. She does beautifully crafted designs on her iPad from scratch. Beautiful graphic designs and drawings on the iPad of all these modern day and classic wrestlers as well. She also does Twitter avies and Twitter banners. So if you're looking for a cool wrestling design or maybe a new Twitter avi or banner, she is your girl. Her Twitter is BrittanyK5150, while her Instagram is BrittanyK Go and check her out. Both of those links are in the description of this very stream if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube. Of course, on Thursday, the parties don't stop because we're streaming live again on Thursday because good friend of mine, Billy Ann Wolf, she's going to join us live from New York State, and she's going to join me on the rundown for WWE SummerSlam. The rundown for SummerSlam is this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have a lot to talk about as SummerSlam has really loaded up the card. And we have plenty, and I mean plenty, to discuss on the winners, the potential losers, the potential storylines going into Payback, which is the first WWE pay-per-view of the fall, quote unquote, even though it takes place before Labor Day. And then on Sunday, August 6th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Is it 2:30 or is it 2? I don't even know my own fucking times that I'm streaming live on. What do we got over here? Let me double check here. I'm losing myself. I really am. I'm losing myself over here. 2 o'clock. I'm sorry. 2 o'clock on Sunday, August 6th. 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. My main man, Earl Cole, he's coming back on my channel for the rewind for SummerSlam. And then on August 10th, which is a Thursday, I will be joining him on the Wrestling Experience, where we will discuss AEW Dynamite and we will go over SummerSlam for those of you who may miss the rewind on Sunday afternoon. So it's going to be a busy 2 weeks for the DJ Storms brand starting today. Of course, we will be doing rundowns and rewinds for All In. We will be doing a rundown and a rewind for Payback and for All Out. Although I'm not going to be doing an LFU on Saturday, September 2nd, because I will be down in North Carolina celebrating my cousin's wedding. Shout out to Andrew. Andrew, if you're watching right now, can't wait to see you in the beginning of September. But I will be back by Labor Day, and we will do a rewind for All Out, and I will get a rewind in for Payback as well. Plenty of good material coming your way. If you guys haven't already done so, please make sure you hit the like button no matter where you're watching it from, whether it be on the Hardcore Sports Twitch, Hardcore Sports YouTube, Hardcore Sports Twitter, my YouTube, or my personal Facebook or my group Facebook page. It is a large, wide outreach, and I don't really expect too many people to come on in because, let's be real here, no one gives a fuck about NXT. It's a terrible brand. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure a lot of you would much rather be here rather than watching NXT on the USA Network right now. And by the way, the Judgment Day will not draw ratings. On top of that, please make sure you share the stream out on all platforms of social media, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, so that way we can get as many people in here as possible, because everyone needs a little dose of DJ Storms in their life. I make people's lives better. That's just a fact. On top of that, if you're watching on YouTube, whether it be on my YouTube channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I am on the road to 2,200 subscribers, and on Hardcore Sports, we're on the road to 800 subs. We are itching closer and closer to 1,000 each and every single day. I'm already a part of that 1,000 subs club. I'm over 2,000, but we want to get Hardcore Sports to that goal as well. We want to get Hardcore Sports to 1,000 subs. So if you're not subscribed to Hardcore Sports, go subscribe to that right now. And of course, when you hit the subscribe button, whether it be on Hardcore Sports YouTube channel or mine, You got to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because it's the only time that you can get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautifully crafted mustache right here. I don't know where Earl is, but he is missing out on this oh so beautifully crafted magical ace black comb, and we're gonna light it up right here on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of I'm telling you, I had a great dinner tonight before I came here. I had a baked potato that was stuffed with sausage, mushrooms, and cheddar cheese, and it was absolutely amazing. It was a delight. I think I may go back for that again in the near future. But just like that, I am just so good. Everybody wants a piece of the StormsMeister, and I am the tastiest snack in the IWC. But anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. Let's get straight into the festivities that we have here. NXT Great American Bash. I don't want to say it was a bad show. I really don't. It wasn't the worst show I've seen. But one thing that really stuck out to me, and I noticed this as we went along, it started around NXT Stand and Deliver. And then as we got to Battleground, it wasn't as prominent, but it started to show face a little more at NXT Battleground. And then here at the Great American Bash, it was just staring me right in the face. We already know that weekly NXT television absolutely sucks hippopotamus dick. We know that. But usually, the premium live events are not that bad. I'm not saying this was a dog shit show, but it is clear as day, and this show proved it, NXT has a major problem with their premium live events. These matches are way too short. The shows feel rushed. This show had 6 matches on the main show. 7 matches if you count the pre-show, but I'm only counting the main show. If you count the main show, it was 6 matches. Up until we got to the main event, there was not a single match on this show that surpassed 13 minutes. And yet this is supposed to be a premium live event. It's almost like they wanted to get into Texas and they wanted to get out of Texas. Listen, I understand it's hot down there. But if you're going to give me a show and you're going to call it a premium live event, make it worthy of the title, premium live event. You could have taken 85% of what we saw here at NXT Great American Bash and you could have plopped it right on NXT television. It's almost like they didn't even try. I'm not even lying. It's almost like they didn't even try. I have no problem with 6 matches on the show. 6 matches is a great amount for a pay-per-view. It is. 6 matches is a great amount for a pay-per-view. But if you have 6 matches on a pay-per-view like this, you should not have any match that goes less than 15 minutes. Every match, minus the main event, went under 13. That is absolutely inexcusable. That needs to change ASAP. If you're going to give me a pay-per-view with 6 matches on the show, it better be a pay-per-view full of bangers. Hell, it doesn't even have to be 6 matches. It could be any amount of matches, and you could make it work. You could give every match the proper amount of time as long as they are worthy of being called a premium live event match or a pay-per-view match. I want you guys to go take a look at AEW Forbidden Door. Go take a look at AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door. I want you to go take a look. How many matches were on that show? 12, 13 matches, right? And How many matches can you honestly say were not pay-per-view worthy on that show? One? Maybe two? That's it. There was one or two that come to mind for me, but for the most part, every match on that show, from top to bottom, was pay-per-view worthy. Every match got the proper amount of time. Every match felt important. Every match was given the proper amount of time to tell the story that they needed to tell and to entertain the audience in the manner that they needed to entertain them. But NXT, listen, some of these matches were not bad. The main event was excellent. The North American title triple threat match was very fun. But outside of those two matches, the rest of the card could have easily been put on NXT television. And that's not to say that some of these matches were bad. That's not to say that Blair Davenport and Roxanne Perez was bad. That's not to say that the tag team title match was bad. They weren't bad matches. But were they premium live event matches? No! It started at Stand and Deliver. It became a little bit more apparent at Battleground. And here at the Great American Bash, it's just staring you right in the face. These shows feel rushed. 15 minutes minimum, 15 minutes minimum is the length of time for a pay-per-view with 6 matches. 15 minutes minimum each match. You rushed through 85% of this card, and you could have easily given more time to about 5 other matches on this show that would have made the show just a little bit better. You would have brought the show up from a 4 or a 5. You would have brought it up to at least a 7 if you gave these matches the proper amount of time. I don't know what they're doing down there, but the only logical reason that I can honestly think of why these NXT Premium Live Event matches go so short is because back in the day when NXT had black and gold, Vince McMahon was always upstaged. Every single match, you go back in the day and you had the tag team title matches getting 20 minutes minimum and the North American title matches getting 17 minutes and the women's title matches getting at least 15 minutes. And every single NXT Black and Gold pay-per-view, every single one was always upstaged. Every single one always upstaged a main roster pay-per-view. No matter which main roster pay-per-view they piggybacked off of, every single time an NXT pay-per-view, when Triple H was running it under Black and Gold, was on the WWE Network, it always upstaged what Vince McMahon did the following night. That wasn't the case here. It almost feels like Vince McMahon is suppressing NXT Premium Live Events. He's almost saying to everyone, yeah, you can have one good match here or there, but you cannot upstage any of these main roster pay-per-views. How many of these NXT Premium Live Events have legitimately upstaged a main roster pay-per-view? There's only one pay-per-view this year on WWE's calendar that falls underneath an NXT Premium Live event, and that was the Royal Rumble. That was a bad show. Probably WWE's worst show all year. But every other Premium Live event for WWE has always upstaged NXT. I would not be surprised if Vince McMahon threw the hammer down and said that NXT Premium Live events, they are to be treated like developmental. And that's piss poor. That is piss poor treatment. Because if you're not going to give us a reason to care about these individuals, if you're not going to give these individuals the proper time to do what they need to do on a premium live event, how do you expect them to get over on the main roster? I don't understand. NXT has a major problem. These matches are way too short. These shows feel way too rushed. We need 15-minute matches minimum on a premium live event if you're only going to give us 5 to 6 matches. It is inexcusable that I need to watch Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus Gallus, and I know that those two teams could easily go 20 minutes and put on a banger, and they're merely given 9 minutes. Or Gable Steveson and Baron Corbin. I'm not saying that Gable Stevenson's a mat technician or he's going to put on a 5-star classic, but 7 minutes for a match, and it ends in a double countout. They need to fix this problem immediately. If you're not going to give us a pay-per-view full of 15 to 20-minute bangers, then don't even bother putting on a premium live event at all. Because it's a waste of my time and it's a waste of all the fans' time. So we go to the pre-show. And we kicked off with an 8-person tag. This is Nathan Frazer, Dragon Lee, Ulyssa Leon, and Valentina Feroz versus Metaphor. This is Noam Dar, Oro Mensah, Lash Legend, and Sakara Jackson. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not. I expected a disaster. But this match turned out a lot better than expected. Matter of fact, I'm going to go so far as to say that this match was actually better than half the matches on the main show. I'm not even bullshitting you. I'm not even joking. Trust me, I have not been kidnapped. This is not a clone. I do not have a fever. I'm not under the influence of any drugs. This match was actually a very fun 8-person tag. For the 11 minutes that it went, I found more enjoyment in this than I found half the matches on the main show. Metaphor, listen, Metaphor sucks. The Metaphor faction, it makes no sense. It's cringeworthy. It's no better than Schism on Tuesday nights. It's terrible. However, everyone in this match, including Metaphor, everyone showed up to work. And that I can appreciate. So this was a pretty standard back and forth. Lash Legend was actually flinging Valentina Feroz around because Feroz is rather small and Lash Legend is a larger woman. She's a taller woman than Valentina Feroz. Dragon Lee then came in and he lit up Oro Mensah. Metaphor then isolated Dragon Lee before he got a tag to Frazer. Frazer then took out Noam Dar with a drop kick. Feroz then took out Lash Legend with a Hurricane Rana, which looked nice. Leon was then launched off of the top rope onto Legend. Leon then, she was launched onto Dar off the apron. Dragon Lee then with a Hurricane Rana to Oro Mensah off the apron. And Nathan Frazer with a suicide dive taking out, I believe it was Noam Dar. So a lot of high spots here. So back in the ring, Noam Dar caught a moonsault reverse DDT by Nathan Frazer. Sakara Jackson then put herself in the way of Nathan Frazer when he was going to attack Noam Dar. Lash Legend came in, and Ulyssa Leon delivered a missile dropkick to Legend, a jumping DDT by Feroz. Dar then pulled her off of the cover of Legend, tagged to Dragon Lee. Lee then with a dragon screw on Noam Dar, super kick, punt kick, big punch by Dar, tag to Mensah, and we had an alley-oop facebuster by Mensah. That got a 2 count. Nice near fall. Super kick by Dragon Lee, tornado DDT on Dar, roll up by Mensah for a 2 on Frazer. Frazer then with a reverse Spanish fly off of the middle rope by Oro Mensah, which looked very nice. Moonsault, alley-oop into a reverse DDT by Dragon Lee, which looked beautiful, actually. I don't know what he's calling it, but it looked great. And Dragon Lee finally gets his first NXT premium live event win on the pre-show for NXT Great American Bash in what was a match that had no right to be as good as it was. And even though they suck, I will give props to Metaphor. Metaphor showed up to work, and Nathan Frazer, Dragon Lee, I mean, those guys are amazing. Those guys should easily be at the top of the card, never mind the pre-show. And Ulyssa Leon and Valentina Feroz, they're actually very good themselves. I'm not sure how much experience that they have, but for what they're doing, they're not bad whatsoever. And this match, like I said, better than half the matches on the main show. I was pleasantly surprised. And there was a part of me that was thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe this will be a damn good wrestling show. And it wasn't bad in the end, but it was not worth 2 hours and 30 minutes of your time. So after that match, we go into the main show, and it is Gallus versus Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. And this was actually one of the things that NXT did right. Gallus was the correct team to win the NXT Tag Team titles. They won them off of the New Day back in February at NXT Vengeance Day, and they held them for a solid amount of time. Tony D and Channing Stacks Lorenzo were the team to take it off of Gallus, and they built it up very nicely. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo, they got a nice thing going for themselves. Stacks, listen, we all know Stacks is not as good as Tony D, but Stacks, he's got a nice little partnership working out for himself with Tony D'Angelo, and they mesh very, very well together. And this was the right match to do at Great American Bash, and the right outcome was a title change, and we got it. We got the title change. So Gallus, they went right on the attack, no wasted motion. Tony D'Angelo came in, him and Stacks were wearing down Mark Coffey. Gallus then took over quick and wore down Stacks. Tony got the tag, and he lit up Gallus with a couple of belly-to-belly suplexes on Mark Coffey. Spinebuster. Wolfgang then went for a senton on Tony D'Angelo, and he accidentally hit a senton on his partner Mark Coffey. Tony D'Angelo then with a superplex on Mark Coffey, and Stacks with a diving headbutt, but Wolfgang saved the match. Wolfgang then with a slingshot spear, which he calls the Glasgow send-off, because he's from Glasgow, Scotland, which I actually thought that was a great move right there. After that, we had Wolfgang going up to the top for a moonsault, and he gets the moonsault. Stacks ended up kicking out. Wolfgang then tried to use a miniature baseball bat that Joe Coffey gave to him, and Joe Coffey distracted the ref while Gallus hit a Claymore flapjack combination. Tony D'Angelo saved the match. Tony D'Angelo then powerbombed Mark Coffey into Wolfgang, and both of them went sailing into the steel steps on the floor. Back in the ring, Tony D'Angelo took the miniature baseball bat and whacked Joe Coffey right in the face. So Joe Coffey, the manager, was taken out of the equation. Stacks then launched himself over the top rope with the assist of Tony D'Angelo with a tope con hero, and then they hit the bada boom, bada bing, which is a double power bomb, and Tony D'Angelo gets the 1, 2, 3, and Tony and Stacks are the new NXT Tag Team Champions. This was the right match. This was the right outcome. The match was just too short. It was too short. What happened to the old days where we had the Viking Raiders and Aleister Black and Ricochet going 20 minutes? What about the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain? If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go out of your way to look up those matches. You will be in awe. Those matches are some of the best tag team matches that you will ever see. What happened to the days of DIY and FTR back in 2016 when they were having a 2 out of 3 falls match, which is probably one of the greatest tag team matches, maybe the greatest tag team match of all time? How can you give these two teams 9 minutes? Do you honestly think that that is the correct way to go after the story has been built up so well? 9 minutes is all these two teams get? These two teams should have gotten double that time. These two teams should have gotten 18 minutes. Barely enough time to tell a story. Now, it wasn't bad. It was a decent little tag team match, but you could have taken this and you could have plopped it on NXT television and it would have fit like a glove. We need premium live event matches on premium live events, not NXT TV matches. Everything was fine about this match, except for the length of the match. And that seemed to be a common story going through the rest of the show, up until we got to the main event. Now, I am very happy for Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and I am very happy for Tony D'Angelo. Well-deserved for them. And I'm very, very happy that they are in the position that they are in because they've worked hard for it. I'm very, very happy for that. Gallus have always been great. I've seen plenty of Gallus in NXT UK. They are absolutely phenomenal at what they do. We all know how good they are, and it was great. It was great that they got a run with the tag team titles, and it's great that they built up the right team. The match, again, it just left a sour taste in my mouth. How can you book this match and only give them barely 9 minutes? That doesn't sit well with me. Do you really want people to care about these individuals who realistically should be next in line to run the main roster? Like Gallus, like Tony D, like Stacks? How do you expect anyone to be fully invested in them if you're not giving them the opportunity to put on the quality matches that we know they should be putting on? Right outcome, right match, not enough time. Roxanne Perez and Blair Davenport. This was a weapons wild match, and this actually went a little longer than the first match. I believe it went about 4 minutes longer than the first match. But even this match didn't feel like it got the proper amount of time. Now, it was good. It was better than the opening, that much I will say. It was good, but it could have been better. Here's another thing. The story between Roxanne Perez and Blair Davenport has actually been built up very nice. That's actually been one of the bright spots on NXT. This match was built up very, very nicely. But they only give them 12 minutes. They only give them 12, 13 minutes. How was that enough time? This match should have gone 17 minutes. This match should have gone 17 minutes, and we should have gotten a little bit more weapons involved. There was plenty more room for creativity on both Blair's end and Roxanne's end. So Blair, she did not get an entrance. She actually attacked Roxanne Perez in the crowd. Roxanne was actually in her home state. Her home state, she's from Texas. So Roxanne Perez, she's saying hello to her mother and her sister at ringside, and Blair Davenport comes out from the crowd and attacks her from the crowd right in front of her family. And that wasn't even the best part. We're going to get to the best part. So Perez then dove off the barricade onto Blair. Nice suicide dive as well. Blair then took a trash can and bashed it against Perez's head. Blair then brought out some chairs. She then put Perez's head in a trash can, and I believe she took what was part of a steel barrier or like one of those things in Texas where you burn something onto wood. Like what's that thing called? Mr. James Punasek, I know you're down in Texas. What's that metal thing called where you burn a logo onto a piece of wood or you burn a logo onto something like that? She used that and she took it like a metal thing that you use for a fireplace, and she bashed the trash can as Roxanne Perez was in the trash can, which looked very nice. So she then wedged a chair into the corner. Perez then drop-kicked the chair into Blair's face. Davenport then took off Perez's belt, and she slung her into the barricade at ringside and whipped her with the what was it? Branding iron. Yeah, there it is. Branding iron. So Blair took a branding iron and she whipped Perez while Perez had her head in the trash can, which looked very nice. After that, Blair Davenport then took Roxanne's belt, slung her against the barricade, and whipped her with the belt right in front of her sister. So Blair Davenport whipped Perez right in front of her sister, got in her sister's face, and her sister was trying to hide her hands. She was trying to hide her face in her hands because her sister was legitimately on the verge of tears as her mother was trying to console her. I was legitimately laughing my ass off. I thought that was brilliant. Brilliant shit. So this obviously woke something up. Perez then whipped Blair with a cowbell. Perez then got out a table and the crowd popped big. We then had Blair setting up a bed of chairs. Blair then with a Falcon Arrow on the trash can and a double stomp but she missed the double stomp, and Perez then took Blair out to the apron. Perez then put Blair on the table, and she dove off the top rope with a splash through the table. Crowd popped big. Back in the ring, Perez with a spinning back kick. She hit the pop rocks on the bed of steel chairs and pins the match. 1, 2, 3. She wins it, pins Blair Davenport, and she gets the victory in her home state of Texas. Good match. It was good. It was better than the first, but once again, the story felt greater than the match. The match did not equal premium live event. Now, granted, it was probably the third best match on this show, but at the end of the day, 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. I swear, it's almost like I was watching a rerun of Money in the Bank, where you were giving Riddle and Gunther, you were giving them 8 minutes, and then you were giving Balor and Rollins 12 minutes. Then you were giving Dominic Mysterio and Cody Rhodes 9 minutes. It's like these matches, they just feel so rushed. They feel so rushed, and it's not enough time to tell a legitimate story. That's a problem. I'm sorry, that is a major problem. Right outcome, good match. It could have been great if they had given him 6 or 7 more minutes. There was a lot, and I mean a lot left to be desired from this match and the opening match. But Roxanne gets the win. What happens now with Roxanne? It is quite obvious. Roxanne Perez, after getting this win, she seems like she is all but confirmed to be the next challenger for Tiffany Stratton. And after Roxanne inevitably loses to Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez will be called up to the main roster because she is more than ready. Baron Corbin, he's got this new gimmick, and he has a new Titantron that says, burn the ships of distant past, where he's pretty much saying to hell with his past, and he's taking on more of a serious attitude. He actually was wearing a nice armband, which had a ship sailing on a tsunami on it, I believe. It was almost like a pirate type of armband. I actually thought it looked very nice. He had these black tights with these badass designs on it. So he's showing some resemblances of the Lone Wolf character, which is good. I have no problem with it. Black attire and the rock music, I have no issue with it whatsoever. So Baron Corbin, he took on Gable Steveson. This was actually a match that I was actually looking forward to because I was interested in seeing what Gable could do. And from what I saw, he was not terrible. Gable was not terrible in this match. It was his first match ever, and he didn't look bad. His timing was off. I could clearly tell his timing was off, but this was not a terrible match, and then the ending took place, and I was thinking to myself, why even put that on the show? Why even put this on the show if this is how it was going to end? So Corbin was a little frustrated early on. Gable with an ankle lock. Gable then with a German suplex on the floor. Corbin then sent Gable into the post. Corbin then with a nice-looking Death Valley driver for a 2. So Gable with the near falls, and he was selling very nicely. We had a big clothesline by Corbin. That got a 2. Gable Steveson, this was shocking here. Gable Steveson was actually being booed. I don't know why. I'm guessing because he is as vanilla as they come. I'm guessing it's because Gable Steveson does not really have any charisma whatsoever. Or maybe people are finally starting to see that Baron Corbin has been shafted for all of these years. Maybe people are seeing that Baron Corbin is trying to reinvent himself and get rid of all the shitty gimmicks in the past to a point where he's trying to be a little bit more serious, and maybe people finally want to get behind Corbin. Maybe they want better for Corbin. Who knows? But Gable Steveson was actually being booed. Corbin was being cheered. I can't remember the last time Baron Corbin was cheered. So we had a couple of belly-to-belly suplexes by Gable Steveson. Corbin then was sent over the announce table, back in the ring. Gable sent him to the floor again. Corbin was then sent over the table and the crowd booed. Corbin then came off of the table with a double axe handle, and the ref all of a sudden counted 10, and it was a double count out to end the match. Double count out, the crowd was chanting bullshit as more referees tried to come out to separate Gable and Corbin. Gable then, in what was probably the best spot of this entire thing, sent Corbin through the barricade with a belly-to-belly suplex, and the crowd booed. Now, I'll get the positive out of the way first. Gable didn't look bad. Off timing, but that will come with practice. Practice makes perfect, but he did not look terrible. I've seen much worse matches. Was it a great match? No, it was a very basic match. But if Gable can do the basics well, then I guess that is a good start. Now, the post-match brawl was actually very good, although I'm not really sure why they're feuding. I'm not really sure why Corbin decided to target Gable Steveson. They have nothing to do with one another up until last Tuesday. However, the post-match brawl was very good. And the match itself, up until the ending, was fine. But that ending just left such a sour taste in my mouth to a point where it nearly ruined the rest of the show for me until the main event came around. I don't know what their motto is. I don't know what WWE's fetish is with DQ finishes and double countouts. Now, granted, we haven't seen it in quite some time. Granted, we haven't seen a DQ or a countout finish on a pay-per-view since the Elimination Chamber when Brock Lesnar got himself disqualified against Bobby Lashley. We haven't seen it in 5 months, but this is WWE's calling card. WWE, I don't know what their fetish is, but it's DQ finishes and countout finishes on pay-per-views or premium live events. That shit needs to be done away with. That needs to go away forever. That should never, ever occur. The only scenario where I would be okay with that is if we actually get a double countout on a pay-per-view when in a world title match. And I mean a world title match after we get a banger world title match where we get a scenario where that's going to lead to another match, a potential Extreme Rules match or a Steel Cage match or a Hell in a Cell match. That is the only time I don't mind it. But 99.9% of the time, DQ finishes on premium live events and double countout finishes, those should never, ever occur. It's not doing the favors to the talent, it's not doing favors to the audience, and it's not doing favors to the show. It actually brings the show down. There should be no such thing as DQ or double countout finishes on pay-per-views unless it is absolutely necessary. This was not necessary. Where exactly is Corbin going? If you have heavy investment in Gable Steveson, then put him over. His debut match, and already you are giving people a reason to sour on him. And it's not even because he was booed in the match. It's because now you're having his matches end via double countout. Already? I don't get it. That was a terrible, terrible outcome. Should not have taken place. And if this was the outcome that was inevitably going to happen, you were better off saving this match for NXT television and hyping it up for NXT television to actually try to organically draw some viewers for that show rather than bringing in main roster talent and putting them on the show. Speaking of main roster talent, Dominic Mysterio, he was on the show. He defended the NXT North American Championship against Wesley and Mustafa Ali. And this came about because Dominic Mysterio beat Wesley for the North American Championship 2 weeks ago, and thus we get a triple threat match. Now, I will get some positives out of the way first. All three of these individuals, and I'm even including Rhea Ripley too, all four of these individuals out there, every single one of them played their roles beautifully. And it made for what was a very, very fun triple threat match. It wasn't the best, but it was very fun for what it was. Probably the second best match of the night. So let's go over what happened here. Wesley and Mustafa Ali both attacked Dominic Mysterio. We had a double chop in the corner. Ali and Mustafa Ali. I was saying the same thing. Wesley and Mustafa Ali, excuse me. A lot of Lees in this match. Mustafa Ali and Wesley, they mixed it up for a little bit. Dom then took over, and Dom tried for a Three Amigos, and Wesley and Mustafa Ali ended up delivering double Three Amigos to Dominic Mysterio, and the crowd popped. Wesley then with a running meteor on Dom before Ali saved it. Ali then mounted a comeback, tornado DDT, and that got him a 2 count. Rolling neck breaker on Dominic Mysterio. We had a Boston Crab and a camel clutch combo by Ali on Dominic and Wesley at the same time. So Mustafa Ali, very, very technically sound, got a double submission on both of the competitors in this match. So Dom then got out. He drop kicked Ali. We had a super kick by Ali on Dom. And Wes, then he was taken out by a super kick by Ali. Both men were draped over the apron, and Ali went for a 450 on the apron, but both men moved. Both men moved, and Ali crashed and burned on the apron. We had a suicide dive by Wesley on Dominic Mysterio. Rhea tried to get involved, and Wesley dove over Rhea Ripley with a Tope Con Hero on Dominic Mysterio and landed on his feet, which looked amazing. Rhea then tried to go after Wesley. Wesley thought he dodged her, but Rhea Ripley caught him and delivered a riptide through the announce table, completely shattering the table, which looked awesome. Back in the ring, Dom covered. We thought he was going to steal it. Wesley kicked out. Rhea then gave Dom the title, and Dom hit Lee with the women's title. Lee kicked out again. So at this point, Rhea and Dominic are beyond frustrated. So Ali then came in and he drop kicked Dom. Dominic was hanging over the top rope. He was hanging on by his foot, and Wesley was down. Ali then went up to the top, delivered a 450, but Rhea Ripley pulled him out, and Dominic Mysterio off the top rope with a frog splash, and Dominic Mysterio pins Wesley 1, 2, 3 to retain the NXT North American title in what was a very fun match for what it was. Now that we get the positives out of the way, now it's time for the negative. This was the wrong outcome. I mean, it was the predictable outcome because let's be real. WWE right now, and I've already said this, WWE is they're in a very, very delusional state right now. They are so delusional that they actually believe that the Judgment Day is going to generate high ratings for NXT. They actually believe that. When in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. You may get a few weeks of 700,000 people here and there, but what's going to happen when they've appeared on NXT so much that they pretty much become numb? The Judgment Day virtually will become numb to NXT. It will virtually become numb to NXT, and it will become numb to the ratings. You are not, I repeat, you are not going to get the ratings past 750,000. You are not. And if you do, it's going to be one fluky week, and it will go right back to the same ratings that it was before. Dominic is not a draw. The Judgment Day are not draws. The only genuine draw in WWE is Roman Reigns. That's it. No one else is going to draw viewers like Roman, and this Bloodline storyline is drawing viewers. And even then, the Bloodline storyline has run its course. Even the Bloodline storyline has seen its day. Dominic Mysterio, I don't care how you want to look at it. I don't care what you want to spin. Dominic Mysterio is not ready for that prime time spotlight. He's not. I'm sorry. Dominic is not ready. He needs at least another 1 to 2 years to perfect his craft. Why exactly are we sitting in a scenario where Dominic Mysterio is being put over two individuals who realistically should be the future of this company? And if anything, Wes Lee isn't even the one that's getting the short end of the stick. Wes Lee isn't even the one that's being shafted the most. Wes Lee had an NXT North American Championship reign taken from him, which was probably the best NXT North American title reign ever. He had it taken away from him, but at least he's been champion 3 times over in NXT already. You want to know who I feel bad for the most? Mustafa Ali. I cannot help but feel bad for Mustafa Ali. Everything that man has gone through, I am surprised he has not gotten up and quit already. Mustafa Ali has been shafted every step of the way in his WWE run. Coming out of 205 Live, he was unfortunately injured at the hands of Randy Orton. Then he was supposed to win Money in the Bank, and Lesnar came out of nowhere and stole it from him. He had a SummerSlam match shafted from him. He was off television for 2, not 1, but 2 8-month periods, put in a shitty retribution group, and then after he comes to NXT and it looks like he was finally going to get a title, you will not convince me. Mustafa was supposed to beat Wes Lee here at the Great American Bash. In comes Dominic because WWE foolishly thinks that the Judgment Day is going to draw ratings for NXT and they're going to beat AEW in the ratings. He may be smiling and he may be doing his job on the outside, but on the inside, I will bet you Mustafa Ali feels as defeated as can be. I genuinely feel bad for him. I swear to God, he's like Dolph Ziggler 2.0. At least Dolph Ziggler's actually won fucking titles. I swear to God, man, I do not know what Mustafa Ali did to piss off WWE. One scenario wasn't even his fault. It's like that one injury by Randy Orton just set off a chain of events. A chain of events that Mustafa has never been able to recover from. It's honestly sad. It really is sad to watch. To a point where, like, my heart legitimately hurts whenever I see Mustafa Ali on television. Every single time, this guy gets the short end of the stick. It's sad. And it really put a damper on what was a very fun triple threat match. Really did. But as expected, Dom was going to retain. Why? Because, hey, gotta drive up the ratings. We gotta drive up the ratings, Bruce. We gotta drive up them ratings, Sean. We gotta beat AEW. Oh my God, we're gonna get that TV rights deal sooner than expected. Dominic retains. Tiffany Stratton, Thea Hale. This was a submission match for the NXT Women's Championship, and this was probably the worst women's match on the show. We had a lot of women's wrestling on the NXT Great American Bash Premium Live event, and it's actually quite sad that the title match, the co-main event, ended up being the worst women's match on the show. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was the worst match of all time, but Tiffany Stratton and Thea Hale are not in-ring technicians. They are not submission specialists. The only submission hold that Thea Hale knows how to do is a fucking Kimura lock. Tiffany Stratton is not a submission expert. I don't understand why we're making this match a submission match just because Thea Hale tapped out Tiffany Stratton once or twice. I don't understand. You do realize you put 2 women who realistically should be the future of this company. You put 2 women out there in a scenario in which they were always going to fail at. You set them up for failure, and you gave us what could have been a decent match if it was a normal match. You could have given us a decent match with these 2 like we got on NXT TV, and these 2 ended up shitting the bed. They tried, but it did not come off well. So Thea was playing the underdog babyface here. Stratton with a Canadian backbreaker stretch. Hale mounted a comeback with a nice exploder. Stratton caught Hale in a body scissors. Hale then fought out, delivered a bulldog and a tope suicida. Stratton's shoulder was then sent into the post. Crossbody rolled through by Stratton. Thea then went for the Kimura, and Stratton sent Thea Hale into the corner. Stratton, then with a rolling senton, Thea went up top, and she delivered an avalanche exploder suplex. She locked in the Kimura lock. Stratton was able to get to the ropes, but there were no rope breaks. Stratton then sent Thea into the barricade and the steps. She then hit the prettiest moonsault ever, and in what was probably the worst spot of the entire night, Stratton, she did not know how to lock in a Boston Crab for shit. I mean, holy shit. I mean, a Boston Crab is probably one of the most basic wrestling moves that one could lock in. And Tiffany Stratton, she was literally fumbling and falling all over herself. This is a woman that should be at the top of her game. This is a woman that put on what was perhaps the best women's match of the Memorial Day weekend across the 3 pay-per-views. There were 3 pay-per-views on Memorial Day weekend. It was NXT Battleground, Double or Nothing, and Night of Champions. And out of all of those shows, it was Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria that put on the best women's match of the entire weekend. And here she is. Here is Tiffany Stratton fumbling and falling all over herself. And I'm not even blaming her. A submission match was a terrible idea. She's fumbling and falling all over herself. She can't lock in a Boston Crab to save her life. And after 3 shitty attempts at the Boston Crab, Andre Chase throws in a towel. Throws in the towel, protects Thea Hale, and that was it. There was no way that Tiffany Stratton was losing, but I mean, holy shit. If you're going to retain the championship, you may as well have put on a better match. But again, I'm not blaming Thea Hale, and I'm not blaming Tiffany Stratton. I'm blaming NXT Creative. This should have never been a submission match. This was a bad idea right from the word go. Bad idea. Main event. Now we get into what was legitimately the only thing that I would encourage you guys to go out of your way to watch. So after a pay-per-view full of rushed matches and shitty finishes and shitty stipulations, we get to Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes, the main event for the NXT Championship. This was excellent. This was absolutely excellent. 2 men who are light years ahead of anyone else on that brand. These 2 individuals absolutely stole the show. These 2 absolutely brought it. These 2 got 25 minutes, and it was one of the most hard-hitting matches that you will see in NXT all year. Some people were calling it match of the year worthy. I wouldn't go that far. Was it match of the year for NXT? Maybe. But if you're asking me, my match of the year for NXT was at NXT Vengeance Day between Wesley and Dijak for the NXT North American Championship. Which, by the way, if you guys have a chance, go out of your way and watch Wesley versus Dijak for the NXT North American Championship from back in February at NXT Vengeance Day. That match will go down as probably one of the most underrated matches in WWE all year. That match was excellent. So this match, however, was hard-hitting as can be. And there were some excellent spots in this match. They told a very nice story. These 2 legitimately beat the shit out of each other. And Ilya Dragunov, even in defeat, Ilya Dragunov, he was the one that took most of the offense in this match. Dragunov was the one that got most of the offense, and Carmelo was kind of playing catch-up. Carmelo Hayes was kind of the come-from-behind babyface. He was kind of fighting from underneath. Dragunov was the one that really stuck out like a sore thumb, like a killer in this match. So it was very standard, very technical. Hayes, then with a chop. Dragunov got pissed. Oh, by the way, I need to point this out. Dragunov grew out his facial hair. Dragunov grew out a beard and a goatee, and he looks even more badass than he did before. So that was a great move on Dragunov's part. Excellent move on Dragunov's part. So Dragunov then came in with an enziguri, German suplex and a big lariat. We had a slap across the face. Dragunov then with a German suplex barrage and a nice bridging German for a 2. Dragunov then delivered a jumping senton. More chops, more big chops by Dragunov. He was like a mini Gunther in this match, just chopping the shit out of Carmelo Hayes. We had a spinning chop. Hayes then came in with a super kick. And Ilya Dragunov then delivered a Constantine special, which is pretty much a 619 around the ropes, and then he follows up with a clothesline. Dragunov then was caught with a PK and a punt kick. We had a couple of short arm lariats by Dragunov. Hayes then with some short kicks and a spinning facebuster, spinning around the world facebuster, takes Dragunov down. Crowd was chanting NXT, NXT. Both men traded blows. We had a big lariat by Hayes, turning Dragunov inside out. Dragunov with hammer and anvil elbows. He channeled his inner Blackpool Combat Club, did Ilya Dragunov. Hayes then came in with some hammer and anvil elbows of his own and a springboard falling DDT for a 2. Dragunov then with a diving senton on Hayes, that got a 2. He went for the coast to coast, did Dragunov, and Carmelo Hayes caught him in a code breaker, which sent Dragunov into fucking orbit. He sold the shit out of this code breaker. Looked awesome. He went for the nothing but net. Carmelo Hayes went for the nothing but net, and I swear to God, I thought Dragunov legitimately killed Carmelo Hayes here. I thought we witnessed a murder live on television. Carmelo Hayes went for nothing but net, and Ilya Dragunov caught him midair and powerbombed him on his neck. Not his back, on his neck. Carmelo Hayes rolled over his neck to a point where I thought something was broken. I was shocked that Carmelo Hayes got back up. So he powerbombs him right on his neck. A big wind-up forearm right to the face. Hayes kicked out again. Dragunov then had Hayes up to the top. And what was probably the best spot of this match, Dragunov went for a superplex, and Carmelo Hayes countered into a mid-air cutter. Mid-air avalanche cutter. Dragunov kicked out again. Trick Williams then showed Carmelo Hayes the belt and tried to be his hype man, saying, this is what you do it for. Tried to motivate him, right? So both men then traded some more chops, some more kicks. Dragunov then came sailing off of the steps with a torpedo Moscow on Trick Williams, and I think he actually hit the title as well. So Carmelo Hayes sees this, and he takes advantage of it, sends Dragunov back into the ring, delivers nothing but net, and retains the NXT Championship 1-2-3 in what was easily one of the best matches that you will see in NXT all year long. This was awesome. And surprise, surprise, it was Carmelo Hayes and it was Ilya Dragunov. I don't understand why. I really don't. I really don't. Why exactly this was the match that got the most amount of time? Why exactly are we not getting 20-minute bangers throughout the show? If every single match was like this match, the show would have probably been the best NXT Premium Live event since the reboot. I really don't understand. Why is it that we need to wait 2 hours to finally get a match worthy of us investing our time in? Now, Carmelo Hayes retains. There was a part of me that actually thought that Dragunov was going to win because Carmelo Hayes was talking to Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley, he's trying to form a faction with the Street Profits. I wouldn't have been surprised if they called up Carmelo Hayes and they would have paired him with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in this new Hurt business, so to speak. But it was not to be. Carmelo Hayes retains, and Carmelo Hayes continues what was a great NXT title reign so far, and it's only going to get better. Carmelo Hayes has been putting on bangers as the NXT champion. Grayson Waller, Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin, and now Ilya Dragunov. Good things are in the future for Carmelo Hayes, and this NXT title reign, my God, I am loving every single second of it. I'm not sure who's next for him, Maybe a Dragon Lee. I don't know. Maybe a Dijak. I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind Dijak. We'll have to wait and see. But I really don't know who else there is left to challenge Carmelo Hayes. I really don't. Ilya Dragunov, it's clear as day where he goes. He's going straight to the main roster. And if anything, if Gunther ends up retaining the the Intercontinental, if Gunther ends up retaining the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam against Drew McIntyre, Ilya Dragunov's going to be right there. And if you guys watched the first two matches between Gunther and Ilya Dragunov, you know what you're in store for. Matter of fact, I would love that, actually, if Gunther retains at SummerSlam and Ilya Dragunov is the guy to beat Gunther. That would be fucking awesome. Not a terrible show, not the worst show ever, but easily a pay-per-view that fell flat because they refused, and I mean they refused to actually take their time, and they did not give the majority of matches the proper amount of time that they needed, minus the main event. NXT is a problem with their premium live events. It's not just their weekly shows, it is their premium live events too. Will it improve? No, I don't expect any improvement whatsoever. NXT is actually on right now, and I said, fuck it, I'm not watching this garbage. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Rewind. You guys have been awesome. Small audience tonight, but it was a little bit more intimate. Thank you all. You guys were great. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Be ready for the rundown for SummerSlam on Thursday, LFU on Saturday, and Rewind on Sunday. Once again, I am now a part of PWP Nation. We will have more details to come as far as what my status with that brand will be and what I'm going to be doing on the PWP Nation Facebook page. It is going to be big. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms. This has been the Rewind. But before we get out of here, people, a question that everybody must answer, and you gotta be straight with me here. Do not lie. You all know the answer. Who runs the IWC, people? Who runs it? You know. You all know. Who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. Don't you forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the